Howdy guys, I'd like to talk to you guys today about a little special weapon that was developed several years ago for the military out of Crane, Indiana for the Navy Land Special Warfare Center, and it's called the Troy SOPMOD M14. It's a very peculiar weapon at that, but let's take a look, see what you think. Here's just some brief information on it. This is the original bill of sale invoice. You can see the price there. This is an original Troy SOPMOD M14 sniper weapon system. Michigo makes this look easy. And here's an original laminated sales flyer from Troy from back in the day. What's interesting is that they were actually an affiliate of Arms Inc. Here's a little pamphlet. I'll include screenshots of all of this. And here's the weapon. This is rumored to be only 36 of these ever produced, and I think 16 of them or so had been basically destroyed by the Navy in the weapons testing and development. There's some interesting history involved with it, of course, and you see the logo of Troy when they worked on the development of this weapon under funding from the Navy. It was a very expensive weapon. It used titanium and carbon fiber, magnesium even, I heard someone report once. So this is a very peculiar or interesting special operations peculiar modification. They call it a commando carbine. You see there how short it is compared to a regular M14, but let's just take a step back and have a look here. And what do we have here in this case? By the way, it's been checked and cleared already, so we can do it again just to make certain. There's the Troy Industries deployment case. There's a friend of mine has another one that his came from Iraq with sand in it still, from a guy that had been a Navy SEAL that deployed with it with Blackwater. Let's just open her up, take a look, and see what we got. This is one of only about 35 or 36 total made. It's got the full kit. Cleaning kit even has the Troy logo, mags, spare parts. Let's see. This one's been kitted out a little. There you can see actually says Rock SOPMOD M14 Troy Industries. Let's just get a screenshot of this here. Yeah, how about that? It's got the Raptor bipod even. So the Troy marked tactical sling. Now, let's just see here. See what I can do. Yeah, how about this, y'all? How about this? How many of these have you seen live and in action? Titanium stock. Really, it was a lightweight system, kind of like pioneering with the before the early Mark 12s even, the development with this suppressor mount that's threaded. The suppressor's designed to go over. Right here's the threads. I always get it backwards because they're kind of, I think they're actually like a left-handed thread, which would make sense, so the suppressor tightens up on it. There's the medieval flash hider that these came with. Originally it came with an A2 flash hider, and it had to be purchased separately. I've got the invoice for that as well. Here's a look at the gas system. The gas system is turned not quite at a 45-degree angle, but it's slightly offset with the piston. Let's see if I can set this down here and get you a better look at it. Let's see if we can flip this back around here. There we go. Like I said, Michiko makes this look easy. He's a great YouTuber. Much love and respect for him. Let's see if I can get this piston to operate. There you can see how it, get it in focus. See how the piston operates to the side of the gas cylinder even, how it sticks out in this front projection. I have a suppressor for it as well, and it's a dummy can. I wished I had a suppressor. I have a Allen Engineering AEM5 30 cal can. I thought about adapting it to fit it, but what I'll probably do, we'll just go ahead and get an actual can for this. Yeah, there's not many that are in existence, so it's a prized sniper rifle with some military history to it. This one came from a guy that worked on the weapons development from an M1A he had that happened to be pre-banned because his state didn't allow him to own much of anything. So yeah, how about that? Hopefully you guys can get a good enough look at it. Let me see if I can set it back down in this deployment case and film it from on top. How about that? Not a lot of information on them, and very little, in fact, as far as videos, so it's rare that you get an opportunity to see one. There's markings on the suppressor, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. It's just a dummy can. It's solid, but it's weighted for the same weight as the actual suppressor, and it's real similar to Ops Inc.'s suppressors at the time. Yeah, it's very, very nice even to have something that was made by them, even as a dummy, because, you know, there's probably only the one that they ever made. And it was just because this guy worked on the weapons development that had it, and he wanted the suppressor but couldn't have it in his state at the time, so he had them make a dummy suppressor so he could display it with everything. And he had been involved in, of course, special operations as well. Helped Troy set up their optics setup. This has the Troy aim point mount as well, Troy marked, which is pretty cool, really. A little see-through, so when it goes on the gun, it's got iron sights that you can actually still use in the rail, as well as Troy flip-up sights. And that's in Attila. A lot of neat history on that sight. And then, of course, just the L-can. But there's a couple, you know, just standard A2 birdcage come on it. Some other little parts and goodies in the case. But yeah, this is the real thing. This is not airsoft. This is a real deal M1A that was made by Troy Industries from the SOPMOD program for the Navy SEALs, and thought I'd try to make a little video and share with you all. Here's what it led to. The development of was this EBR chassis from Sage International, I believe is their name, and it had the wind talker suppressor and everything, and it of course was developed and carried over to this other chassis here for like a Ruger style chassis from the Sage Ruger Mini 14 chassis. They went to a different grip. This has the early grip that the Navy was using. It doesn't have the pick rail here in the back, and it's got some other interesting things. The grips that came on them later won't even fit this chassis because it's an earlier one that was probably earlier developed from the Troy style chassis, so you can see them compared together, the difference in them. Let's just take this. This became what was known as the EBR, the Enhanced Battle Rifle. There we go. It's hard to do this one-handed, but get a good look at it. There we go. There's the Rock, Mike Rock, Troy Industries M14 SOPMOD, one of the rarest M14 military style weapons, even marked M14 on it, just like the real ones were, developed for the Navy. What they did conversions. If you had an M1A, preferably a pre-band, they would do the conversion for you, and it was roughly about $2,500 back in the day. Now, I mean, these things are like made out of unobtainium. I'd hate to guess what something like this would be worth or what it would cost today. But hope you guys got to enjoy this video. Get to take a look at one of the unique and rare weapons that was in our military's development. Saw combat and testing in Iraq. I actually was there the day the other one was picked up, and the guy that carried it in Iraq sold it to a buddy of mine, and I got this one from the guy that worked on the weapons development. Sold it to my friend, and I bought it from him. So it's only had the 3 owners, and the pedigree I've got here as well. Of course, who and how and where it come from, and the invoice has the guy's original name as well. So that's kind of nice to have. There's the invoice for that Troy medieval. Isn't that cool? Flash hider. Sorry for your wait time. Yeah, Troy, you know, they've had some controversy over the years, but let's take a look at this catalog. You all might find that interesting too. So there's the suppressor that they developed for it. You can see there it just uses a standard A2 flash hider. That's kind of a early stock development. Get my dirty nails out of there. Yeah, here's some of the other items that they manufactured. They built this early bipod that was really interesting. There's some M14 accessories from their catalog from back in the day. Really cool stuff, you know, with their Trojan horse logo, and the connection with Saint Paris. I think it's pretty clear who this was designed and intended to be for. It was funded through the Department of the Navy, and there's their battle sights. They're pretty incredible sights. I had the original design suggestion for the Night Armament flip up rear sight. There's a picture of the bipod. Called it the Talon Foot bipod. Boy, it is. It sure is that. Here's a picture of it there. The other SOPMOD, it had the same Troy flip up sights on it, but they got sold off, and I ended up keeping mine still. But there's some of the sales brochure on it. Pretty interesting history and development there with it. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you enjoy getting to take a look at some of the development of what has become one of the rarest rifles now, being that only 35 were ever made. I've heard estimates of 36 even, but There wasn't very many because this chassis was very expensive. It was actually put together, all machined, the two halves, I believe, and then joined together. So you had to have a left and a right, and had to be machined. And I mean, it was just a lot of machining cost and expense. All this Picatinny rail back in the day when that was really popular added to it. This forearm or handguard cover is actually made out of carbon fiber. So I mean, they didn't spare any expense with these weapon systems. And I believe this is actually titanium, the part that they call titanium. And if the stock is what they're referring to, this piece here is made out of magnesium, potentially. I mean, I don't know that, but that's some of the things I've read and come across in the literature on it. But yeah, this is like the early Ops Inc. number 12 style suppressor before it, you know, during that time of the Gordon carbine and the very special guns for special people. You know, we call them a peculiar weapon for peculiar people because God's people are a peculiar people, it says in the Bible. So these are God's people, definitely the finest. Maybe I can get around to showing a sneak peek video at this little gem of a deployment case here, and another really rare sniper system with it. I'll do a video on this, and I'll just give you a sneak peek of it. This is an early prototype Delta contract SR25 that Reed Knight sold to me personally. So it has some sentimental value, more or less. I don't even shoot it. It shoots really well. Like, it's shot two 5-shot groups in one hole before. So yeah, one by me and one by another sergeant with the State Guard. Yeah, have a look there, fellas. What do you guys think? Get to take a look at some of the rarest gems. M14 Satchel, he likes to do a lot of 308 shooting on battle rifles and Knight's Armament and M14s. He did a recent video in which someone in the comment section mentioned the rarest of military developed M14s, and well, this would definitely be one of the earliest of those, and I don't know if it's the rarest or not, but it would be certainly one of them, being that so few were ever produced. So hope you guys click like and share and subscribe, and hopefully I'll have more Bigfoot content on the way in cryptids. That's what my channel is mostly known for, so I guess you can have an interest in a little bit of both. It kind of intertwines itself when you get into divine knowledge aspects of weapon related design ideas and information that's shared. This is kind of flattering that FN on their SCAR copied the Knight Armament flip up sight, which was my original conceptual design idea. I'll probably have one on here somewhere. I think it's one somewhere along the row here. There's one or two of them I could show you, but let's see. Here's the macro sight. This is what was developed from a design suggestion I had when I gave the idea to Doug Olson from a German FG-42 that was in Reed Knight's collection. I happened to get to meet Reed Knight and become friends with them and Trey and the people involved with a lot of these weapons designs. And I even had Eugene Stoner looking over my shoulder at one time there in Vero Beach, Florida. While I was looking in the reflection of a monitor, there was this image, and I just said, I'm just here trying to learn a thing or two, you know. And he had that characteristic half frown, half grin, yeah. But he heard every word I'd said, and he, you know, he's the one that built this one right up here, this Dutch AR-10 rifle at top. It's kind of a collectible thing, you know, for someone like me that's interested in military style weapons and the development of it. And I can't say I ever did anything, but I mean, I did have some design knowledge and input into some weapons that are somewhat still secret today, so I can't really talk too much about it, but you know, secret squirrel kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah, cool stuff. Well, you all take care, and God bless everyone, and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.